Peace. Mind over money. Let me see. Can I share this right quick? Share. Mind over money. Mind over money. How to think like an investor and take care of business first. Mind over money. How to think like an investor and take care of business first. To John Ryan McCreary. Thanks for your support. This is my business mentor, Ryan McCreary. www.mindovermoneybook.com. $8 shipping and handling. I'm about to actually order me a couple. So if you want to go with me, we could get it. You know what I mean? So it's whatever. I might have to order like 8 books or something like that. The peoples need this. Now, whoever is my peoples, y'all know what I'm going through, my family going through. But this here still got to be done. This is something my pops, he wouldn't want me to stop. He want me to do. He set such a bar as a man, as the guy that he was. He set a bar for anyone that was blessed to have his presence. And with that, I'm just going to continue to strive forward to be as good as he was or better. Dedication to everyone who aspires to do great things in the face of adversity, like Pretty Tony. So basically, we're going to discuss the financially illiterate American, why economics and financial literacy are so important, the mind over money principle, how to avoid being stuck in the past, the essence of time, entrepreneurship, relationships and money, being rich versus being wealthy, ownership is the real American dream, generational wealth, the next generation to save the babies, immediate steps you can take right now to live a better financial life. So stay tuned because it's about to get interesting. Acknowledgements. This book would not have been possible without the support of my dear mother, Susan McCreary, my sister, Jessica McCreary, my grandmother, Carmen Lewis, and my aunt, Kathy Lewis. To my children, Mariah and Logan, your future is what drives my ambition. Awesome. A special thank you to the rest of my family, my friends, clients, students, and supporters. I sincerely appreciate all of your support. Chapter 1, The Financially Illiterate American. Close your eyes and think back to when you grew up and first started school. What is your first memory of school? Can you remember your very first day? Perhaps your first day of school was in kindergarten or first grade or even pre-K. Maybe now you practice those same annual back to school routines with your children. Most of us can probably vividly remember those times, including how the weather was starting to change and how that cold fall air was right around the corner. At least that's how I remember my first day of school growing up on the East Coast. We were prepared with the right books, folders, pens, crayons, binders, erasers, etc. We would write each subject on each folder, such as math, English, social studies, and science. These were the subjects that were the most important ones that, yeah, I'm live right now. That was a phone call from my boy, but I gotta holla at him in a second. I gotta finish doing what I'm doing. Excuse me. Okay. We will write each subject on each folder, such as math, English, social studies, and science. These were the subjects. We're recording right now. I'm gonna call you real soon. All right, so I say about that. Let me continue. Please, if you see me here, don't call me. I'm gonna have to keep banging on you. Okay, these were the subjects that were the most important ones every child learned in order to be smart. Fast forward to high school. Now you're taking the more advanced subjects like such as trigonometry or physics. You may even remember all the sports or extracurricular activities you joined in order to make your college application look good when you were applying to schools. As I reflect back, a question comes to mind. Why did we not ever learn the real information that will help us be successful in a capitalist society? If you're reading this and you grew up in a society outside of the United States, which I hope is the case for some readers, considering I would like to have an international impact, please bear with me as I explain the ridiculousness of growing up in an American capitalist society and number one's being required to learn the information that impacts everyone's everyday life. Science is nice, and it is wonderful to learn about all of the different atoms and things that make up the world. But what good is organic chemistry jargon if you're struggling to pay your rent on the first of every month? Does this make sense? I thought it would. Before we move on, let's just outline the facts about the reality of capitalism in America. America is a business. Corporate America is America, and America is corporate. I do truly believe that money is not everything, but in America, it almost is. If you have no money, then where will you live? How will you eat? Will a grocery store or local restaurant not want you to pay for food? Will they accept civil rights or social issues as a means of payment? What about education? Luckily, we now have a Google, and education can actually be obtained for free. If you care to use your resources intentionally instead of using your smartphone for entertainment, and when you recognize that you are holding a computer and a potential multi-million-dollar business in your hand. However, when it pertains to the economics of education, why are the better schools the ones with more money? What about healthcare? If you need to see a doctor or have to go to the hospital, if you have no money for healthcare, no money to pay out of pocket, will you get seen? Yes, you will, but the facility will bill you. And if you get medical assistance and have less of a liability to pay as an individual, then the government is footing that bill. But trust and behold, it is not free. These points are relevant ones that will ground our discussions in this book. This is not a political book on debating if America should change its ways and be more like Europe and other places that are more socialist or less capitalistic. We could debate all day about what should be done or what is right and wrong. No, I do not believe anybody in America should be homeless when there are 3 or 4 billionaires that hold more wealth than hundreds of millions of people debating about it is not going to help us pay our bills or help our financial situation. For this reason, it is important that we engage in a thoughtful dialogue about financial literacy and why many of us make the decisions that we do as it relates to our finances. One of the reasons why I understand how the world works from a sociological perspective is because I hold a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology and have had far too many classes about Marx and socialism, globalization, inequality, social justice, etc. However, this book is not about those topics. While I loved my college experience and learning at that level, 4 or 5 years of college still did not fully prepare me for the real world. And it did not give me the financial knowledge I would need to face financial challenges that exist in the real world, especially being of the millennial generation. Ironically, most college degrees today won't even guarantee you a job. The not so secret of the rich and wealthy, which there is a big difference between, which I will cover in later chapters, is the desire and commitment to incorporating financial literacy into their everyday lives. Now, if you read carefully, you will see that I did not say study financial literacy. Although I do believe studying financial literacy is extremely important. It is why I started an outline financial literacy school. It is why I started an online financial literacy school in which you can sign up for free at www.themcquaryfinancialschool.com. If you need that hyperlink, I'll put it up here after I'm finished. Commitment to financial literacy is not merely studying this information from a book or taking a $997 course from a social media influencer. It's about incorporating financial literacy into almost every aspect of how one's lives it's about incorporating financial literacy in almost every aspect of how one lives one's life. If the topics pertaining to financial literacy in this book sound like speaking a foreign language to you, guess what? This means that you are perfectly normal. I just want to stress to you that it is more than you just learning some concepts and telling yourself you got to do better and starting next year or next month. You will start saving more money. It is about living your life in a completely different way than how you're currently accustomed. Now, this does not mean that you need to go out and completely transform who you are and become a complete miser. I am talking about mindset. You can do everything the same way as you are now, but with this new mindset, you will start to see that your actions will start following suit. Your mindset will adjust and then your actions will be different, not vice versa. Your mindset will adjust and then your actions will be different. Many people think that if I perform this action, then it will positively affect my mindset. This is true, but only temporarily. This book is about permanent changes that will enhance the financial health of your life and those around you. For example, you ever find yourself thinking, if I take this lavish vacation that I really can't afford, or I go to this fancy restaurant just to take nice pictures on Instagram to appear to be winning because I am dining with the rich, that you feel better emotionally or psychologically? Yes, you will feel better again, temporarily, but for how long? I'd much rather own the restaurant than boast about eating at the restaurant. But maybe I'm just a crazy one. Escaping to a lavish vacation on an island to make my mind feel better in a financially stressful situation, or looking good and dining with the upscalers, or spending hundreds of thousands of dollars at the club but not having an investment portfolio are the keys to balling backwards. I know this from experience. This was once me. Not everybody who enjoys nice things are escaping financial stress, but I do see an honest trend of things or actions that look good based on removed external perception, but in reality, they are totally backwards. If things in your life look good online or they look captivating to the world, even as a cover up, that is okay. Why? Important concepts I will stress in this book is ownership. Excuse me. One of the important concepts I will stress in this book is ownership. Own things first, then nice stuff comes later. In fact, I will discuss the importance of equity in detail later on in this book. I must also say that this book is not intended to give investment advice, stock tips, guidance about performance, or anything of that nature. I am not currently licensed or in a position to give investment recommendations, nor do I want to be. This book is about changing one's mindset and recognizing that there are many opportunities to change financial habits if you have access to the information and have your mind over the money mindset. The financially illiterate American. Almost 70% of all Americans have $1,000 or less in a savings account or saved up, and 34% have no savings at all. Did you know that? Is that you? There are many research studies that show that the average American is horribly uneducated in the areas of financial literacy. What's worse is that in the African American community, data shows that the average family has less wealth than any other racial or ethnic group. That has to start changing now. In 2015, study conducted by the National Capability Study, researchers interviewed participants between the months of June and October. The investigators discovered that out of over 27,000 respondents, almost two-thirds of them could only get one or two questions right from a five-question basic financial literacy test. It is worth noting that this was not a 5-hour Series 7 exam where the test taker has to almost strip down naked and can't even bring a bottle of water in when taking the test. They take cheating prevention to another level. I didn't know if I was on an intake jail block or if I was in a testing center. Questions of the aforementioned exam would ask, if you take out $1,000 loan that has 20% interest rate, how much will you owe a year in interest? Amazingly, many people did not know that $200 was the correct answer without having to go Google it. Again, it isn't great that we can use Google to find out everything. Excuse me. Again, isn't it great that we can use Google to find out everything? I remember when you had to go to the library to get information and use Dewey Decimals and big encyclopedias to look up information. The fact that the average American can't even pass a minimum basic financial literacy test is worth a larger discussion, especially when the topic impacts almost every aspect of each and every one of our lives. The worst part about the findings from this and other studies is that this is just the tip of the iceberg, whether it be the topic of saving, investing. Most Americans know nothing about the stock market, nor which can immediately impact or common things such as interest rates and mortgage rates. Most people what these concepts actually mean and how to use them to their advantage. Again, mind over money is not about giving graphs that state a lot of techno babble. Although I do think obtaining skilled information is extremely helpful, instead, this book is about a mindset and a paradigm shift that gives you the ability to take action no matter what financial state you are currently in. Whether you make $8 an hour or have very little income, they actually have apps now where you can invest as little as $5, which makes you an immediate equity shareholder, or you are making over six figures and scratching your head on why you are still living check to check. This book can help you. I don't know what I missed. Fast over six figures, scratching your head on why you are still living check to check. This book can help you. Again, if that is you, then you are completely normal, especially since over 1/3 of those who make 100K a year are still living check to check. The good news is that this book will give you steps to take immediate action. If you find yourself somewhere in the middle, don't worry. This book is still for you and will give you all the tools that you need to get serious about creating generational wealth and leaving a legacy for your family. As you read each chapter of the book, think about how it applies to you. Most importantly, engage in the advice given and take the required steps to change your mindset and to change your life. That was chapter 1. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for listening. Please share. Sharing is caring. Peace. Now, how do I stop?